Shalom, shalom, my name is Sophie Lavender, and in this week's video we're going to be going through the top 10 autistic traits. Let's go. So in today's video we'll be looking at the top 10 traits of autism. Now when neurotypical people talk about autism, unfortunately the majority of what I'm seeing is negative. Now for me personally, autism has been mostly positive, apart from the sensory overloads and the unfortunate experiences where someone has taken advantage of my kind nature. I've found that being autistic has been hugely positive. In fact, I would go as far as to say that autism is a superpower. And we're going to get into exactly why that is, but I just want to first of all say, before we dive into this list, that for me personally and for the other members of the autism community that I have been blessed to become friends with, we see autism as a fantastic type of person to be. And I would say number one on that list, this list is in no particular order, but the first thing that I would like to list off is our observational skills. We see detail where other people would easily miss it. We can really look into things with a fine tooth comb. And when we're going out and about, we have a really unique perspective on the world. We don't necessarily even look at the same things that neurotypical people would look at. When I'm going out with friends and we're kind of hanging out in a pub or in a park or on a dog walk, I tend to notice a lot more things that other people could quite miss. Like maybe walking past a shop and my neurotypical friends will be looking at the stuff on the mannequins, but I will be kind of like looking almost through the mannequins and trying to see what's actually in the shop. And sometimes when we're out shopping, I'll pick up really like unique little things that my friends have just walked straight past, and that is a great example of how our observational skills really shine through our day-to-day life. Another fantastic example of observational skills in autism is to just look at simply how we work. When we are taking part in a project, when we're going through a project, I find that we autistic people, we put a lot more effort into like the planning and the organisation, and there's other examples of how we take our attention to detail very seriously. And this is absolutely fantastic if you're working in a job that requires a lot of planning and a lot of organisation. We need those people who have those kind of really fine-tooth comb levels of attention to detail in order for these things to become successful. Apologies for the slight lighting change there. There was a minor technical issue. So along with that amazing observational skills and attention to detail, it kind of leads us on to our creativity and how we as autistic people are out of the box thinkers. I have a phrase called thinking with the roof off, and that means not having a limit to your imagination, to what you can think, to what you can create. Just keep on going. There is no limit, there is no roof. Always explore new ideas, and because of that I find that we autistic people are quite innovative and we think of lots of out of the box solutions, which then leads us on to, ties in also with how our minds work with being analytical. And because we're creative, both like logically and also in regards to storytelling and art and more image-based stuff going on, I find that with these things like together, we are amazing inventors. And we can come up with solutions to everyday problems that neurotypical people might not have even thought about. So when you tie in our innovative thinking, our problem-solving abilities, and our huge imagination, you really create an individual that has limitless possibilities as to what they can achieve and how they can help others. I know autistic people who create video games, who write books, who do poetry, who do art and photography, and this work is just phenomenal. And I have one friend who does wildlife photography and he's won awards. Another friend who is autistic and goes on stage and performs poetry and has a radio show, and all these things are just absolutely fantastic. And I really wish people would focus on these really, really good, I don't know how to describe it, good things that we autistic people have. And you can probably tell by the tone of my voice that our next point on the list is that we are very passionate individuals and we are determined, and that is a good thing. And we're also, as you can probably see in how I'm doing this today, very enthusiastic. And when we are really passionate about something and we have something to say, we want to share it. And I've noticed that a lot of other people who are autistic are also really passionate about their hobbies. They will go all in. They will just become fully absorbed in the thing that makes their soul shine, and they will just kind of glow and radiate from inwards to outwards, and it's really beautiful to see. And that also ties in to being tenacious and resilient, which is another big positive autistic trait. We are, like I said, we're very determined, and when we have our minds set on something, we can be very committed and follow that through. And this resilience and determination can really tie in and help us become really self-motivated in what we are passionate on. And the things that we are passionate on, and we are enthusiastic about, the thing that, like I said, makes our soul shine, are things that we can become experts on. Expertise is basically knowing a lot about a certain subject, and as you can imagine, if someone has become very strongly interested in a subject, they'll research everything about it. Like, I really like photography, so I like to research everything about photography, how cameras work, how lighting works. I'm really interested in history, psychology and politics, so I'll spend ages reading books all about those things to really kind of expand my knowledge. And because reading those things and learning really makes me happy, from my kind of personal opinion, you could never stop learning. There are always new things to learn. There are always new ways to keep growing and developing your mindset. And in regards to learning, what really helps is another big positive trait of autism, which is our memory. Now, I also have ADHD, so sometimes my memory is a bit like hit and miss. Short-term stuff kind of has the habit of going one ear and out the other, but long-term memory sticks. So as a kid, I grew up reading the horrible histories books, and I can still like remember random bits. So it's probably why I like history, but I can still remember there's like random little facts. And because I really like psychology and I'm watching psychology stuff online, I can like remember all sorts of facts about how the brain works. And when it comes to my other interests, such as photography and politics, I can like remember lots of stuff that has happened. But the memory has also been really super helpful. One really big example of how memory has been helpful is that before the lockdown, I started learning how to drive, and I was really wanting to get the theory test done and sorted because I thought if I got the theory done first, it would make the driving lessons themselves a lot easier. So I booked the theory test and I gave myself about 4 months to learn everything. And I'll just quickly show you. I got this. So I spent a lot of time reading through this, trying to absorb and digest the information. And I also downloaded an app as well, because I find like I can be a bit of a kinetic learner at times. I'm mostly a visual learner, but I'm also quite a kinetic learner. And I learn by doing. And the way that my memory as an autistic person really helped me is that when it got round to taking my theory test, I could literally, in a really strange way, I don't know how else to describe it, it was like I had downloaded a PDF version of this book, like in here. So I had like the question, and I could literally see the page in my head, and I could see the quizzes from the app in my head, and that really helped. And also in regards to driving, what has really helped in regards to my memory is that I can still remember every single driving lesson. It's been 3 months, when this was filmed it's been 3 months since I last got behind the wheel of a car, but I can still remember every single driving lesson as if it happened yesterday. And so long-term memory for me has been a gift. Leading on from expertise and memory, I want to get into this brilliant thing called hyperfocus. Now, as somebody who also has ADHD, focus again, it's a tricky area. It needs help. It definitely needs something. That's what I don't know what it needs, but it needs something. But there's this little thing called hyperfocus, and I mean that kind of sarcastically. But so hyperfocus is this thing. You can just really like go into some, it feels kind of like a tunnel. It's probably the best way to describe it. And it's just you and the thing. And the rest of the world doesn't exist. There is no other world. It's just you and the thing. But let me give you some examples on how positive it could be. I do believe that if it wasn't for being able to hyperfocus, I wouldn't have been able to retain the vast amount of information I needed in order to pass the theory test. I'd love to hear what hyperfocus is like for you lot at home watching. So hyperfocus for me has allowed me to retain more information into my long-term memory, but also has been like a Ferrari down the road of getting a project done. Moving on through my book of knowledge, of my notes of all the cool positive traits of autism, we have, and this next one, I think this next point is down to how we autistic people don't really like conforming to the mainstream rules of society, and that sounds edgy AF. Mostly because for me personally, I kind of see things for what they are. And so when I look at something, for example, like gender roles, the idea of, you know, a woman's purpose is to get married, have a child and look after a home, and the man's purpose is to go out and get a job and, you know, provide for everybody. And that there are certain, and then within the house then, when everybody's together, there are certain roles and rules as to how they should dress and behave. I just think that's BS, to be honest. I don't even feel like our purpose as people should be defined by things such as gender norms, and if you're a guy and you like skirts, wear a skirt. I don't care. Like, or if you're a woman and you don't want children, I don't want children. Like, I don't see how that's a problem. I don't see how people dressing in whatever clothes they want or doing whatever jobs that they want to do is a problem. But that's just one example out of many. And I think because of that kind of way of thinking, one really good trait in autistic people, such as myself and my friends, is that as a whole, we seem to be less judgmental. And I'm not calling out neurotypical people here. I'm not saying if you're a neurotypical, you're a judgmental. I'm not trying to call anybody out here. I don't have a problem with other people just for existing. My kind of personal philosophy is that if it doesn't hurt anybody, that it's safe, and that it makes you happy, do it. Be it. Go for it. If you're not hurting anybody or you're not hurting yourself, then what's the issue? I love you for you as a person. It's not, you know, it's not a problem. And I personally don't understand how other people could see that as a problem. So I hope I've explained that aspect really well there. Which also leads us on to the last point, is integrity. And integrity is a combination of loyalty and honesty, and someone who is trustworthy and someone you can depend on. And I feel very lucky that the people in my life are like that, and it is mostly other autistic people. And integrity is something that I've seen in a lot of autistic people. It definitely is a big positive trait. One really good example of this is that when I first moved to where I live now, I went to the Autism Support Club, and there I made friends with 3 people. Shout out to Tom, Sean and Sean. And since then we've stuck like glue, and these people have been absolutely fantastic. And one person in particular is somebody that I speak to a lot with anxieties and worries I have. I feel like I can be really honest with this person and just like tell them, look, this is how it is, this is how I feel, what do I do? And every single time this person has got back and provided like top tier support. We all need a friend like that. I feel so blessed to have a friend like that, and they've always been there for me. And last year, when I was going through a really difficult time with my mental health, this person stood by me every step of the way. They were just always there for me, no matter what time I messaged. And it was just, I cannot verbally put into words how much that meant to me to have somebody there. And this person is also autistic, and I find that the people in my life who are also autistic or have anxiety like I have provide such a level of integrity to the friendship that it has saved my life. But when it comes to friendships, we are fiercely fudging loyal, and we always stand by our friends. I know I always try to do my best to stand by my friends, and the autistic people in my life when this was being filmed have always stood by me and have been my rock and have been my everything. That is also what I would say is one of the biggest, if not also the biggest, positive of being autistic, is that we can depend on each other. We can, you know, rely on each other to do the right thing, to be the right person that we need, in the sense of that we know how you feel. We completely get that. We may not be able to always communicate the same way as you, but we feel what you feel. It's here. We feel it here. So to go through our list of autism positives, we have observational skills, ding, creativity, ding, analytical problem solving, bing, passionate, ding, tenacious, ding, memory, ding, expertise, Ding! I've made this difficult for myself when editing, but it's okay, ding! Hyperfocus, ding! Less judgmental, ding! And integrity, ding! And all the fabulous stuff I have mentioned in between. So, to close this video off properly, I'll say thank you for giving me your time and watching this, hearing me ramble and hearing what this ridiculous ginger has to say. If you have enjoyed this video, and you better, you can subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter. Do I dare, ding? Ding! And you can follow me on Instagram, ding! Please stick around for the next video. I've thrown my book across the room, so I cannot, I lost a page. My next video is on masking, and oh boy, do I have a story about that. Until next Wednesday, may the stars bring you joy and the galaxy love. See you soon. Mwah. Bye.